Hello and welcome everybody to the Let's Go Devils podcast, the State of the Fan address powered by Fansided and the Pucks and Pitchforks blog. I am Nick Villano, your editor-in-chief tonight. I'm here with Sam Wu. Sam, we got Jack Hughes.
Did we? I thought we got Kakko.
No, you were wrong. Thank goodness you were wrong. You were
wait a second.
Wrong.
Short Sky texted me we got Kakko.
Well, Short Sky lied to you. He lied hard. He sent you a picture of Hughes.
No, I didn't get it. I was too busy producing the show, and I was all depressed. And we got Jack Hughes.
We got Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes is a New Jersey Devil. He's a New Jersey Devil! Okay, enough of that. Be professional for a second. But, no, I'm super excited. This is amazing. Sam, I just want to show you. I am wearing my Lucky Devils t-shirt. This t-shirt is so old that I got it at a Devils game that Mike Dunham started. That is how old this shirt is. It is my Lucky Devils t-shirt, and I made sure that I wore it, holes and all, to make sure that we took Jack Hughes, to make sure that we took the right guy at number one, and maybe we have a little fun tonight. Maybe we have a little PK Subban fun. Maybe we have a little, Ty Barry is out there. There's a lot of more fun to have. He says the number one overall pick, but I am through the roof excited, Sam.
That is awesome. And, Short Sky right now is at the festivities down at Prudential Center. The Devils are hosting their own NHL draft festivities, but you can't have an NHL draft festivities without saying that it's presented by Bud Light, right? It has to. They just put that in there, and I always laugh at it because we do the same thing too. But he is having a great time, and he ran into our good friend Steve Cangelosi, who was on the Let's Go Devils podcast earlier this morning for the pre-draft show. There's a picture of Steve and Short Sky. He met Organist Pete, one of the greatest, nicest people in the world. He's down there. Also, Andy Green, we went green with our shirts when we're on live on location. That's great. He also met one of our podcast fans, Jerry. Took a picture with him.
Oh, hey, Jerry.
Hey, Jerry. Also, Kevin Clark, which he may come on soon. We're not sure yet. Mackenzie Blackwood. Also, Short Sky's just getting around. And also our good friend Trudy from Devils Fan Club. We love Trudy. And last but not least, he bumped into Erica Wachter of MSG Networks. I've heard it's plural. Networks.
Is it? She's only on the one. It's usually MSG plus two. But that's not her fault. That's,
that's not her fault. Yep. So, but we've got a loaded State of the Fan address podcast today. We've got Short Sky that's going to be dialing in through the mobile studio powered by Nova Product Design. And also, we've got some Pucks and Pitchforks writers. We have Joe Stanslow, Jersey Joe, Vinny Parisi. I like this photo that I had to put on the graphics before. And Mike Lucci. These are quality guys, and we got them on standby. And but we want your reaction to this draft pick of Jack Hughes. Now, did the Rangers go yet? I don't have my monitor on.
Yeah, we're already on Colorado. The Rangers went with Kakko. The Chicago Blackhawks went full drunk and took Kirby Dach instead of Bowen Byram or Turkett or Cousins, one of the 17 better players than him. No, I'm just kidding. He's not that bad. But I didn't like Dach when I was researching for the Devils' number 3 pick before we won the draft lottery. So I just wasn't a big fan. And then Colorado got another stud defenseman just now. And in Byram. Byram's going to be really good, and you add him, he might make the roster out of training camp, which is probably why the Colorado's been talking about Barry is a possible trade chip, because they already got Kyle McCarr. They got some really good defensemen there, and they just added another one. Wow.
Yeah, we played this on the podcast this morning. It's like, when the Rangers make their pick, I was hoping that they would play this at the festivities down at the Prudential Center. Let me play that. Kako sucks. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Actually, for a minute there, I thought we did get Kako. That I will settle this with Shorts Guy a little bit later.
You need to fight him. He just took away your Jack Hughes happiness for like 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I just got a video sent from the Prudential Center from Shorts Guy, so I'm going to try to upload that onto the computer, and we may play that right now. And also, Beer Baron May. Actually, I think he's signing in right now. I'll let you two talk, but I think he's signing in right now, and everybody's joining in. Everyone's joining in on Facebook Live, on Facebook.com.
We got the big podcast.
Yeah, at Let's Go Devils Podcast, and you go on Twitter, Periscope, at Let's Go Devils Pod. Again, it's at Let's Go Devils Pod. If you want to take a look at what's going on at Pucks and Pitchforks, it's at Pitchfork Puck. Again, it's at Pitchfork Puck. We're also on YouTube Live. Channel Let's Go Devils. We're also on Twitch. We had 4 unique viewers on our last podcast on Twitch. We're moving up in the world. Yeah,
we're going somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. And for all those Twitch fans, we'll do something with EA 2020, or is it EA 20? Yeah, it's EA 20.
Yeah, we're at EA 20. So, what do you play? Do you play Xbox or PS4?
I play old school NES, ice hockey, and Blades of Steel.
Oh, that noise would kill me on Blades of Steel. No, but I mean, if you're getting NHL 20, I'll whoop somebody's behind in NHL 20. You play with I get to play with Jack Hughes a little bit. Switch up the lines. Maybe I'll throw Hughes on that first line. Maybe I'll throw him on the third line. Just throw you all off and have him and Miles Wood just running circles around you.
Yeah, let me ask you. With all these games now, I haven't played, any of these EA games really since college, because I would always play during finals, but never play. But are they as accurate as they seem? When they rate the players and this and that, could we start doing maybe over the summer projections and scenarios and different line combinations and play the auto, the auto computer to kind of test our knowledge of the game?
I think it's a little off when it comes to prospects and young players. Like Ty Smith is 68, which I think was like, it's just way too low. And, everybody in the Devils is kind of low. Even Hall was kind of low going into this year, even though he won the MVP going into this year's game. I think it was a 90 overall. They tend to not overrate anybody. Like there used to be 99s and 100s overalls back in like the young Jaromir Jagr days and things like that. But that's not the case anymore. Now it's they've kind of evened it out, and we're kind of 93, 94, 95 is like the highest you'll see. So, which is fine. I think they're trying to make it more realistic, and I think the game's really good. I mean, I think it's the best of the sports games, personally. Madden hasn't changed since Madden 02 when they added the hit stick. And, MLB The Show is a good game, but it's, I like baseball, but playing a baseball video game is not what I like to do with my free time. And then, basketball, unless you could let me fast forward to the last 5 minutes of the game, I'm not playing a basketball game. So I think NHL is the place to be.
Hey, guess who just popped on? The infamous Beer Baron. How are you? What's in the fridge tonight for the State of the Fan address?
A little summer ale, my boys. What's going on?
I got a little brownie on myself. I got a little bit of brownie on.
Yeah, I've got this here. I'll cover it up since they're not sponsors. Some iced tea, because as the executive producer and producer of this podcast, I have to make sure that I am sober and I know what I'm doing. Because if I'm not, this podcast will never ever get on live air.
We know it's a Long Island iced tea. You don't got a lot of us.
Yeah, there's a little booze in there.
It's Lou's special, right? So also right now, okay, so we will probably go to the Prudential Center. We are setting up Kevin Clark, the Devils PA announcer. So I'll let you guys talk and set them up, and I'll let you know when we got them on the mobile studio. All right, guys.
All right. So Beer Baron. Hey, what's up, Beer Baron? This is the first time you get to see me when we do this. This is new for you.
Like, hey, another white guy with glasses and a beard. All right.
Yeah. Listen, it's 2019. If you're not a white guy with glasses and a beard, what are you really doing? Anyway, but man. you missed the story of the shirt. So this shirt, I got at a Devils game. It's my lucky shirt, right?
All right.
I got at a Devils game that was started by one Mike Dunham. So A, I was extremely unlucky because he started like 7 games a year. So I missed Brodeur. And B, this shirt is about 20 years old.
Nice. And it's still
fits,
I had to wear. Great.
Yeah, I was a fat kid. It's fine. But anyway, I need to hear your excitement. I mean, me and Sam, we already did the yelling. We already did the jumping up and doing backflips. I got Sam to do a backflip. You missed that. But I got to see what your reaction's like.
Dude, I'm going to tell you what, I'm ecstatic. It's kind of funny because like leading up to it, I had a strong indication that that's the direction they're going to go into. But still watching it happen, I was just sitting there with a big goofy grin on my face. I just to see his excitement too, which is another thing because people knocked him for his interviews and all these other things leading up to it. Like, oh, he's not excited to be a Devil. He was jacked, man. He was so excited. I mean, what a wonderful night. This is an amazing step for the future of this organization.
Oh yeah, this is definitely amazing. And it wasn't I like the hockey, but it was a very good interview.
Yeah. When he was like, I'm so freaking excited or I'm so freaking pumped to be a Devil, that was pretty sweet.
Oh yeah. And you're right, because he hasn't shown emotion through this whole entire process. He's kind of just been the cool and just the even keel, just kind of keeping it level. And he got picked number 1. He kind of just let loose. It happened. He's a Devil. He's number 1.
Yeah, it's crazy. Now, do you feel like everything is kind of falling into place, or do you feel like there's any? I know it's still early in the draft, but seeing Chicago pass up on Byram and he landing in the Avalanche's lap, which is fortunate for them. Do you find that as a surprise that he didn't go 3rd overall, or is there any things that are going on so far that you find a little interesting?
I mean, I'm surprised. I would have taken Byram 3rd overall. Byram's the 3rd best player in this draft, and it's not even close. When you get a defenseman that's the lockdown 3rd best, a lockdown top 3 player, you take him. But Chicago's going to Chicago. The surprise was I had Dodge, I think 7th, and Chicago went with him, with 3rd. And I will admit I'm much lower on him than a lot of other people. I think a lot of other people just see his size and are enamored with it. But I just didn't see he's missing a couple things that I thought he really needed to make it in the NHL. I think that just kind of, a couple of his decision-making skills weren't where I saw a player like Cousins and a player like Turcotte and, even beyond Byram. If you didn't want the defenseman for I don't know why they wouldn't. They would need one. They need a young defenseman, but they went with the center. They also need a center. I mean, they need a lot in Chicago. They need a lot. They need everything that's not Alex DeBrincat and Patrick Kane right now. And and Tays had a nice bounce back season, but they need a lot in Chicago, and I just think they got the wrong guy.
Yeah, and it looks like Turcotte went 5th to the Kings. So I'm just trying to look it up right now because I stepped away from the TVs in the other room, so that way it's not too much of a distraction. Otherwise, my ADD kicks in and you won't get really anything out of me. But it's I'm going to be interested to see if there's going to be any kind of trades or anything that are going to happen in the early part of this draft, or if it's going to start to unfold once we get towards the middle part of this round, or if it's even going to hold off until they get until tomorrow.
I don't think it's going to hold till tomorrow. I think it's happening tonight. They're all there. So right now Ray Shero has nothing to do. He just sit there and watch everybody else go because he can't even research for his second round pick because he knows that at 11 o'clock when this is all said and done, there's going to be people he thought was going to get taken in the first round that are available, and then he has to change up his thought process and change up his scouting to be like, I thought this guy was going 25, and he might be available at 34. So does that change? Like, let's say he wanted the guy I mocked them in Nolan Foote. I think Nolan Foote's going to make it out of today. I think he'll be available there at 34. But if I heard rumors that Kaliev, who is a really good player, but he's fallen in draft boards. And I had some people, he was at one point a top 10 pick in a lot of mock drafts, and then I'm starting to see him in the 20s. And I saw one guy put him in the second round, and I saw that once, and I jumped on it when I wrote the 5 guys the Devils could take in the second round, because when I saw he was in the second round, like, Ray's going to take that guy. If he's available at 34, even if he has to trade up a little bit to get him, I'd say he should do it. But I think the big thing here is that Ray's just going to be talking to GMs who, especially the ones in the 20s who are just kind of sitting there themselves. We're at 6 right now. The Detroit Red Wings just took Moritz Seider.
That's interesting.
I didn't even scout this kid. He's a German defenseman. What is happening? That's the
Yzerman. Okay. That's the Yzerman. Being a little unconventional. Making a splash.
There's too many good guys on the board right now. This is one of the most stacked drafts in the top 10, and he went off the board, and that's a
reach. Okay, so, but you were just admitting that you don't really have a big book on this kid, and you're not really sure a lot about him. So it could be something that they might have something that a lot of us don't have. But Germany, I mean, there's how many big names have come out of Germany, especially with is that a reach in the top 5, top 6, top 7? I don't know.
It's definitely a reach. It's 100% a reach because he just wasn't in the top. He wasn't in anyone's top 10. I'm not talking about teams. I'm talking about the McKenzies and people like that. I didn't see him in anybody's top 10, and here he goes 6. And like I said, I haven't done a lot of research on him because I never pegged him as a guy. Like, even because before we won the draft lottery, I did a profile on basically the top 10 guys, everyone from Hughes to Caulfield. But he wasn't even a guy I even considered for the Devils to take when they had the chance to fall to 6 in that lottery. And now here he goes 6, Detroit. And hey, there's a lot of these times where they take the guy too high and we're wrong. And this could be it. Because like I said, I just don't know a lot of what he brings to the table right now.
All right, so now we're going to be jumping all over the place. And if you ask Shorts Guy, this is kind of what we do, is just we bounce and bounce and bounce. So with the Avalanche selecting a defenseman with the number 4 overall pick, does that mean that the rumors of Tyson Barrie being kind of on the market, does that amp that up a little bit? Because they're talking about Byram being pretty much ready to step into the NHL next year. Not saying he'd be a top 2 pairing or anything like that, but the expectation is that he should make that jump into the NHL next year. So does that make Barrie a little bit more available?
Barry's 100% available. I don't want to say 100%. I think that the Avalanche are going to trade him for the right price. And I think if somebody comes up to that price, I don't think they have to trade him right now. I think they're willing to trade him for 2020 picks if they don't trade him tonight. But I think that they just kind of sent a memo out to the league like, we're going a little bit younger with our defensemen. They got to sign on Mikko Rantanen, but they have a ton of cap space. But if they also want to make splashes in free agency, they might need to make a little bit of room, plus giving themselves some breathing room, because this is the team that probably is going to be. I mean, when I look at it, when I look at what's going to happen in the preseason, I'm going to really consider them as a preseason pick for me to go all the way, because they got everything that I think that they need. They got depth scoring. I mean, a guy like Alex Kerfoot, a guy that we know of, well, because we scouted him a lot when he was one of our prospects. He's on their second and third line, and he can score. He can score well. So, a lot of these teams are.
Hey guys, I need to interrupt. We got some two guests, wonderful guests, down at the Prudential Center. We have Kevin Clark, the Devils PA announcer, and Arlette, the Devils national anthem singer.
Arlette.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
I get a special introduction. Arlette. I love it.
You guys doing all right?
Yeah, we're doing great. How's it going down there?
It was so exciting.
It's so great to be a part of it. The draft party, so exciting. Hey, Kev.
It said it was Hughes.
Hey, Kevin, how you doing?
Hi. I'm sorry, let's say hello to me. We're standing right. We're
it's so great to be a part of this.
Standing
just
outside.
The energy is just amazing.
So
just Devils fans here, just wanting the best for our team. So excited.
And you could just cut the electricity here with a knife. It was fantastic.
You know what, you guys are talking over each other. That tells you the excitement going on in the Prudential Center. You may have to look at each other.
That's why.
Hey guys, it's Nick Villano with Pucks and Pitchforks here. Hey, I just wanted to. So you guys are on the. Hey, so you guys are on the floor there. You're in the middle of the crowd. Obviously we kind of knew that this was going to be the pick for the past 2 months, but did that take away from the excitement at all where you're at?
It's so exciting. I have to say, just the energy is amazing. As I said before, everybody here is just a real, true fan. And everybody just wants the best for the New Jersey Devils. And we're excited for the new season that's coming. And it's just all good. It's all good.
So what comes next? What's we made the pick. Everybody's excited. So is it just party time?
It's literally party time right now. You're kind of interrupting my party here, Sam, because I was partying. But it's good. But I love you, Sam. You know that.
I love you too. I love you too, Arlette.
And you too, Kevin.
There's a lot of people.
There you go. Chopped liver as usual. Let's say, and I can talk now. The next thing is what do we do with these draft picks and cap space and the other teams that are up against the ceiling there? And I'm so curious to see what we do. I know they just selected the number one guy, but just curious to see what we're going to do. But, there's still a lot going on here. A lot of people here. They were saying there were over 9,000 people on Championship Plaza. But, everybody thought it was Hughes, but there was still, it was like Christmas morning when the gift you're going to get. You're pretty sure what you're going to get, but you're not sure until you get it. And that's exactly what the atmosphere was here. People thought it was going to be Hughes, but, you didn't know until it was said, and the place just went ballistic.
That's amazing.
So, Kevin,
it's
quick
funny.
question.
Okay.
Sorry. So, Kevin, have you been thinking about your goal announcement for 2 months? Have you been practicing your Hughes and Kako?
No, there's no practice with Hughes. That's an easy one. Some fans here were asking me about it, and I told them, I said, I can take Hughes and drag it out for like 5 minutes. So I'm looking forward to that one. That's going to be a good one. As far as that other guy, he's with the other team across the river, and I don't care about him at all.
That a boy, Kevin. That a boy. That's a good answer right there.
Well,
so, Kevin, after you...
I've been on before, and you guys know, where my allegiance lies strongly and how I don't like that team across the river. So I don't think it's much of a surprise that he's the enemy now.
That's right. Now, you're saying, after the pick was made and everybody was going crazy, what is the atmosphere now? Is everybody just kind of like just walking around talking about it? I know I saw somebody holding up a Jack Hughes jersey with the number 43 on it as soon as he was selected. So I thought that was pretty much. It might be jumping the gun a little bit, but maybe not because he'll probably end up wearing 43. But it seems like after everybody was jumping up and down. Oh, go ahead.
Hi. I missed the part where the person had the jersey or whatever. I didn't see that. But yeah, the atmosphere here is still just a big party. It's just very exciting and just a big party. Wish you were here.
That's great. Yeah. Are you going to jump up on stage and sing?
I'm not going to do that.
You should.
Tonight, I'm just a fan. I'm just a fan tonight. I'm not performing. I'm just a fan tonight.
That's great. Arlette, I saw somebody that held up a sign it was on social media that said the New York Rangers don't know Jack. Did you see that sign? It was pretty funny.
That's a good one.
You know what? I think I was like a super fan that had that. Like, yeah, I think so. I think I saw that. But they really don't know Jack. I got it. It was great. Yeah, totally great. Yeah, we're just so excited, hoping for the best for our team this year. We're really ready for greatness this year. We're hoping that Hughes could do that for us.
It starts here.
Yeah, it definitely does. Definitely does.
All right. Is Kevin there, or Kevin? Are you still there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that we still have our special guests, both Kevin Clark and Arlette.
So Arlette is wrapped up. She's heading out. So you just got a little old me. So ask away.
Okay. Well, I just got the message from Shorts Guy offline that Arlette is leaving. So Kevin, Jack, could you give us a little bit of a preview of Jack Hughes's first goal at the Prudential Center hopefully on opening night? How that would sound?
Absolutely not.
Hey, I like that. Hold it close to the vest.
You guys will hear it when it happens. No, drop one of those. So we're gonna wait on that. I don't mean to be mean, but let's wait till opening night when he scores that first goal.
Okay. Have you studied how the U.S. national team kind of did his goal announcements? Have you studied how other people have done the Hughes announcement to kind of get some tips, or you just going to kind of go off the top of your head when he scores that goal?
No, that name's pretty easy to say. I'm pretty sure I can wing that one. The one that got me tonight is I was on stage. I had to introduce two of the players, Mackenzie Blackwood and Kevin Rooney. Then all of a sudden they wanted me to introduce Erica Walker. No, I never said her name before. So that was winging it. She was happy. I got a high five coming off the stage. So I think that means we're dating.
Yeah.
Oh,
there you go.
You heard it here first on the left. I'm sorry.
And he just said, "Don't tell your wife." So,
hey, listen, I'm not working for TMZ Sports, so it's fine.
Hello, Sam. She was happy with it. That's all that matters.
Oh, is that Pete? Hey, Pete. This is the infamous organist Pete at the Prudential Center and at Barclays as well. Pete, what is your reaction to Jack Hughes being in New Jersey, wearing a Devils jersey? I mean, does that get you fired up where you're going to come up with bust out some new organ tunes when he scores a goal?
I'm going to write him a song. Are you kidding me?
Can you play?
I'm going to compose a song.
Pete, can you play him Hulk Hogan's "I'm a Real American" when he scores a goal?
There you go. We could do that. No, it's great. It was such an exciting.
Wait. Wait, I'm sorry. Did you really go with the Hulk Hogan song when you have a Bruce Springsteen song called "Born in the USA"?
That's true. True.
What are you doing?
Good point. Good point.
It's New Jersey.
Break it up, you guys. Break it up.
All right.
So Jack Hughes is now a New Jersey Devil. Are people still there partying, or are they starting to file out?
Oh, yeah. No, the place is rocking. The Championship Plaza is really rocking. It's great.
Have you guys heard? Do you guys have the pulse of anything? Do you think anything else is going to happen Devils related tonight? I want to know. Do you think that maybe are you gonna is Kevin going to be practicing any other new names tonight? Cough cough PK.
No, I not tonight, but hopefully with 3 second-round picks, something will happen over the next couple of days, and we can make some interesting moves. Like I said, with all that cap space and other teams up against the ceiling, it's time to pounce. So hopefully the next couple of days are going to be really interesting as a Devils fan.
Yeah, I hope so. And I feel like there's going to be some kind of movement because it just seems like this team is with this number 1 overall pick with Jack Hughes coming in. I feel like there's going to be some kind of push to actually start moving this in the right direction. When Taylor Hall starts saying that he needs more talent around him and Ray Shero kind of agreed with it, that was that indication of like, all right, you know what? They're going to start really starting to put pieces in together. So that's what I hope, at least.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna do it, this is the year to do it. And I've said that to several people that this is the year to do it with everything they have in place. And I think what's happened over the last few years is Ray Shero. Now, this is my opinion, but Ray Shero has built up to this moment. I think that's everything that he was doing, not making a lot of moves last year, was all building towards this. This is like the perfect storm for them. And, let's see what happens. I'm excited. To me, this was just the start of what should be a very interesting summer.
That's what I like to hear. And it will be a very fun season for you to be announcing as well.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to it. And again, just with tonight and that young man being selected, that's a great start. And, and I couldn't do it for you guys, but that first time that I get to say his name, with I don't want to say in anger, but for real, it's going to be exciting, and I'm looking forward to it. And hopefully his first goal is here, and I get to announce it as his first National Hockey League goal. That would be a thrill for me.
That'd be awesome. And I got to tell you, just to kind of add a little fuel to the fire, Darren Drager just said on NBCSN that he mentioned that the Devils have some players in play. So that could be an indication of some things to be coming. Just saying.
Well, let's hope so. And the thing that gets me is with Trouba being traded, the Devils fan base on social media was just it was like a gut punch almost. And he had only a couple of teams he wanted to go to. So, but what that means to this fan base is that they want something to happen. They're jonesing to see some moves made, and I think we're going to see it. I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I'm so excited about this summer, and it's hockey. It's the middle of June, and we're talking hockey, and I'm getting excited about it. So that's a good thing. And no more baseball. No more baseball. So I'm really excited. That's terrible. I should. And having said all that, I'm doing baseball tomorrow night. That's a true story. I really am. Yeah, I know. Shame on me.
Hey, I like to see that the Bud Light Knight is actually at the viewing party too.
Yes, he is here. He's definitely here. He's strolling around. People have been chasing after him, trying to get photos and video, and he's just like parading around like the grand
beer out of him.
Poobah.
That's
if
so
he's
funny.
giving out beer, I'm chasing him too.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I want to drink Bud Light, but you know.
Yeah, but free Bud Light tastes better than regular Bud Light.
Yeah, that's true.
It was cool. We had a good turnout with, Cangelosi and Matt Lachlan, Erica, the players. All the big hitters were here. So it was good to see that turnout. We had 4 the players show up. So it was really good to see that turnout and the representation and the people, not just on the ice, but the people behind the scenes are really excited about what's going on around here.
Oh, sorry. We just got a text from Shorts Guy. That is it true that Erica Walker's there?
Yes, she is here.
Yeah, I've heard that. I heard she was here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, I think she's
Chopped
coming
Liver, me
over.
and Pete Chopped Liver will be
Yeah,
out of
right.
here.
We're
We will be out of here.
we're done. We're finished.
Kevin, I'm
Actually,
your number one fan.
well, Shorts Guy's kicking me now to get me out of here.
I mean,
You know what?
it's Erica.
She is the nicest person in the
Yeah,
world. She
she's
really
great.
is.
She's so down
And,
to earth.
It's nice the atmosphere we have too behind the scenes on a game night with the television folks and our game day production. It's just people work hard and people don't see what goes on in front of you. You're watching TV or you're at the arena. You don't see all the work that goes on to make a Devils game both on television and in person so exciting and entertaining, and that makes you want to come back. Now you take that, you put some good product on the ice, and it's fun for everyone. So a lot of hard work, a lot of good people, really a lot of good people behind the scenes.
What's funny is like, go ahead, go ahead. I was gonna jump in and say something, but I thought you were about to say something, so I didn't want to step on your toes. But screw it, I'm gonna jump all over your toes. It's funny because you said that everybody. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, Kevin was saying about the production team, and they're all here tonight working hard, putting on this show. It's really fantastic, the job that they're doing. There's music, there's camera work, there's broadcast, there's everything. It's really amazing.
Which is so impressive because I was thinking about this watching after St. Louis won the Stanley Cup is what the Devils would do when they win the Stanley Cup. I'm going to say when they win the Stanley Cup. Where would they hold the parade? Where would they do? It used to be in Continental Airlines Arena. It was in the parking lot. So where would they do it? In Championship Plaza? Would there be a parade?
I will not allow myself to even think about any of that. That's how superstitious I am. I will not even think about any of that just because that's how weird I am. But it would be a dream come true, I can tell you that. From some guy who was in the parking lot in 1995 at Continental Airlines Arena to something here would be it would be a dream come true.
Yeah, that would be a dream come true, 100%. And it would be, you could take the crowd that you have there and you could probably multiply it by 10 and just imagine that kind of atmosphere and what that would be like.
Oh, yeah.
You watch what happened with St. Louis on visiting ice and the excitement that the players had. And it was just, I'm watching that and I'm going, man, I want that. I want that.
Yeah, exactly.
95 and the other 2 years were great, but to be a part of it would be, again, amazing. And I want that. I really do. I want it bad. And, the thing is, 2012, we were so close, and I was just happy. It was great to beat the Rangers. It was great because my goal, my dream was to one day be able to announce in the Stanley Cup Finals. So, check those off. But I didn't realize how important it was to win it. And after what, not really being able to get close to the Cup the last few years, you appreciate 2012 even more and how close we were. So, you hear that term, you knock on the door. Great. Well, the next time we got to knock it down.
That's right. I agree. getting to that next step, getting to that championship, winning the Stanley Cup. This is and it's fun because this is that excitement. This is everything that you would hope that this draft night would be. Winning the draft lottery, getting the opportunity to choose Jack Hughes number 1 overall, and being able to have that conversation about the possibility of what this future and what the team could be. What a great night. This is an amazing night. What do you think, Nick?
Well, I mean, I think that this is the start. This is definitely the start of something. I think that, I honest to goodness, I've been tracking this team for 2 years straight. I've been tracking hockey. I've been writing about hockey for the past 5 years. So, I've always been a Devils fan, so obviously I've always kind of had to focus on that. But since I've been really tracking this Devils team and kind of what they've been doing, this is the first time I've ever seen it where I'm like, okay, even going into 2017, I had high hopes for 2017. I'm usually more of a high hopes kind of guy, but going to last year, I was kind of worried. Going to 2017, I had high hopes because I thought Hull had the ability to do what he did. But going to this year is the first year I'm like, it all makes sense. It all is working out. We got the goalie. We've had questions about Schneider for the past 4 years. And this year we have Blackwood and Schneider both playing extremely well. And then you have, Ty Smith, Jesper Boquist, Jack Hughes now coming onto this team, adding that young, hungry, I want to show that I'm amazing. I want to show that I belong in the NHL. And you need those guys. You need that youth. And that motivates some of the veterans. And then the guys that are young are entering their what I call youth prime, which is 21, 22, 23, where they really hit that first year where they crush it. So this is the first year where I'm like, everything's working out perfectly. The only thing that could throw a monkey wrench in this is Taylor Hall, but we could talk about that another time because today it's all about happiness and fairy tales and cupcakes and rainbows.
That's right.
You forgot unicorns. Don't forget unicorns.
Jack Hughes is a unicorn.
He is. The American unicorn.
All right, listen, here's the deal. I'm signing off. I got to drive to Barnegat. Your real star guest is just about to get on with you.
Yes.
Chopped and Liver are heading out.
Yes.
Hey.
The real star is on our way.
He's Chopped and I'm Liver. Here comes the real star right here. He's coming up.
Monkeys are out of here. Hey, guys, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Sam.
If you ever need anything, of course, I'm always willing to chat. And the more I chat, the more sarcastic I get, as you can tell.
Sam, and I'm sorry.
In Sweden.
I'm sorry I had to turn down your show that weekend, but I was doing that gig in Nashville. But I'm back now, so whenever you need me, I'm here.
No problem. We'll have lunch soon.
You guys,
Pete. I'll reach out.
Okay, that was
guys
great.
are the best.
All right, take care now.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
All right. So right now, I guess Erica and Shorts Guy are getting set up. So, so that was Pete Canarosi and Kevin Clark, Devils PA announcer and organist at the Prudential Center. We're getting their fan reaction. I mean, that's
Dude,
what
they're
this
two of the nicest guys in the world, too, by the way.
Okay. Yeah. They are very nice. Sorry, I'm multitasking here. I've got.
What a strange response to that very honest opinion about two very nice gentlemen. You're like, yeah, sure, all right.
Well, our next guest is with Shorts Guy right now via the mobile studio powered by Nova Product Design. We have from MSG Networks. Got to get the plural there.
That S in there.
Yeah. Erica Wachter with Shorts Guy. Hi, Erica. Hey, Shorts Guy. How are you guys doing tonight? Oh,
guys, we're doing great.
Yeah, Sam, it's a lot of fun down here. We're doing really great down here.
Shorts Guy found me, and now we're here making this happen. So it's come a long way since this afternoon, but now we have a new Devil, and that's Jack Hughes. So we're feeling pretty good here outside the Rock.
That's pretty awesome.
Hey, Erica.
Erica. Oh, go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
Hey, Erica. Nick Villano with Pucks and Pitchforks. I just wanted to. Does it feel like that this is the turn? I mean, you went through it was your first season with the Devils. Yeah. Your first season really entrenched in hockey. and it was kind of a lost season. You were talking to a new player every week. But does this feel like turning a corner? Does this feel like this is one step closer to a franchise that is something to be feared?
It really does. As we know, last season was tough, and so we were kind of all just moving past it. But it was a learning experience for all of us. I was a rookie, and there were so many rookies on this team. So, yes, I was interviewing so many new faces, but we're kind of all going through it together. And I feel like going through that type of adversity as a team, especially when you came into a season with expectations to reach the playoffs again and, go further than the first round of the postseason. You're coming off of MVP season from Taylor Hall. It was definitely difficult, but like I said, I really do believe in adversity building character, and that just helping in the long run. And now tonight we have Jack Hughes as a New Jersey Devil, and I think everyone's been so excited about him for so long. So it's kind of just a silver lining in what was a really difficult season. We got the number 1 pick 2 years out of the last 3. So knowing what Hughes and he sure can bring down the center, and we have Travis Zajac, of course, and even Pavel Zacha. We know that he can play big minutes and he can really take that next step in his growth. So it'll be interesting to see what John Hines does with this lineup. But I know they're going to have a lot of speed out there now, and I definitely think Hughes is going to be such a playmaker that it's going to help this team tremendously, taking big strides next year and really turn the page in this rebuilding process.
Now, Erica, I have to tell you, first of all, before I even ask my Devils-related question, that one of my students, who is probably your biggest fan, my little Cameron, who you had her on MSG, and she was lucky enough to get NJ Devils jersey during the fan appreciation night. I have to tell you how much of a fan she is. She comes in every day. Every time I see her in class, she always has to tell me how much she absolutely loves you. So I just want to tell you that she says hello, first of all, and thank you so much for everything that you do for the fans, for the way that you outreach to everybody. And your first season was incredible. And, honestly, the way that you interact with all the fans, the way that you interact with the players, everything was so nice. And we're really looking forward to having you continue this with MSG.
Oh my gosh, that just really made my night. Thank you so much. That's really just the nicest thing. I'm smiling here. You can't see me, but I'm definitely really happy about that. Cameron, she always talks about her teacher and show and tell, and she'd come up and see me at so many different games. But that night that you're talking about, when she got NJ's jersey, it was just so fun too, because all of a sudden, my producer tells me that, oh, we got this great video. This little girl is so happy about getting the NJ's jersey, and then they put it on the screen. I said, oh my gosh, that's my friend Cameron. I'm so excited. So I really feel like it is truly a family here, and I felt so embraced by the fan base. And there are so many fans like Cameron that come to me, so many different games. There's been babies that I've just seen grow over the course of the season, and I really do feel so connected, more than just this is my job, these are fans, but I really do feel like friends with these fans and this whole New Jersey Devils community. So that really means a lot for you guys to say that. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
So Erica, changing gears a little bit, because I guess I'm the Devils guy. He's the make everybody feel good about themselves guy.
Hey, that's what I do,
I'm only answering questions here.
I will say that I just through Twitter and how many people have talked about their great interactions with you. Young, whether of all ages, all sides, all creeds, and I do think that's pretty awesome. And that's probably something that I haven't seen with a lot of hockey teams. So I got to commend you on that. But I will ask a Devils question. I want to know who you think on the current roster is going to be the most, who's going to get the most out of the Jack Hughes pick. Who is Jack Hughes going to impact the most that's on the current roster right now?
Wow, that is a really good one. And that's a tough question.
That is, yeah. I'm going to jump in here too, Nick. This Shorts guy. That is, yeah.
That's really hard because, talking, we talked with Andy Green, we talked with Corey Scheider after the pick was announced, and I feel like just across the board, he's going to, at least, if anything, raise everyone's game around him, because people are going to want to match that level of intensity that he brings and probably learn some things from him too. He's a younger player. He's been part of the USA program for all these years, and he probably brings a different dynamic and different style that a lot of players can learn from. I think that's a really tough one because players come to my mind, but then I also just think that, okay, Jack Hughes is going to learn just as much from them and get better just as much from them. So that's a really difficult one, and probably one that I have to see them play a little bit first to really know.
Yeah, and you're also going to have players like Zajac that are going to help teach him how to be a professional athlete. Same thing with Snyder's going to help teach him to be a pro, which is what he's going to need to learn coming into this team. I mean, he's still 18. He's a kid. How many of us at 18 could handle this type of pressure? I could not. Eric, I don't know if you
I could barely drive a car.
I was learning how to handle my beer at 18. I mean, not only in Canada.
And he's going to have to step in and have this. He's going to have a lot of weight on his shoulders. And I think it's going to be a collective team effort to not only he's going to help the team, but they're going to help him come into the situation and be like, listen, we're all a team, and we're going to help you get through, becoming a pro, and you're going to help this team become great. And I think that's really where it's going to be, because this team is shaping up to be a team. And the long-term view is to have this team play together and to win championships going forward. I don't know if there's going to be one single player that's going to benefit. I think it's going to be the entire team, franchise, and then us as fans too.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. That's a great point. What do you guys think? Who are you thinking is going to be impacted the most? Anyone jump out to you?
I mean, honestly, I agree with what you guys said, so I'll just go with that.
I personally think that. I mean, my personal pick would be. My personal pick would be Travis Zajac. I think that Travis Zajac had to play a lot of first-line power play minutes last year. He had to also be the top penalty killer. He had to jump into the second line when some other players weren't playing up to that level. He had to do a lot that, I mean, at his age and his skill set, I think Travis Zajac is perfect for the role that he's meant to play. That's third line shutdown guy. He shut down Connor McDavid. He shut down Austin Matthews. He shut down that Bruins top line. He's perfect in that role. But then when you have to ask him to also play number one power play minutes, that takes away from the amount of minutes that he could play in that shutdown role. So, that's what I would pick.
Sure, I agree. I concur with that. I like those thoughts.
Do we lose connection?
No, we're here.
No, we're here.
Oh.
You guys.
It got real quiet.
You
Maybe
blew their mind. That's all. You blew their mind. It just that answer was too good.
Maybe I should move to baseball. That was silence.
Yeah, anytime there's an awkward. Sorry, I got to cut in here. Anytime there's an awkward silence, I was just about a half a millisecond away of playing our soundbite.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm going to move to Montreal and go play for the Expos.
Yeah, right. So, Erica,
they're gone.
Yeah,
they're coming back.
They might actually, because Tampa Bay might be moving up there. But so, Erica, my question to you is: last year, throughout the good, the bad, and the indifferent, I want to ask you, what do you think that was your favorite moment of the entire season? I know there's millions that you could probably pick from, because you got to travel to a lot of great NHL cities. You got to go see a lot of different things. You get to have conversations with a lot of people. And I honestly, one of the things that stick out the most is I remember the first game watching you on TV, and you could see that, it was like so exciting and everything was like so, so real, and everything was kind of coming to fruition. Do you think that would be your favorite moment, or what would you feel that you would pick out of all those things?
Yeah, that's a really difficult one, because there were so many things that I remember from the season and just so many different positives. But that probably had to really be it, of just being there. And it was such a whirlwind when I did get hired, and it all came together so quickly. But just being in the Rock at that broadcast, at my desk and in the broadcast set for the first time was really just quite the thrill. And I got to work with such great teammates this season. They made my job really easy for me. And also, I loved going on the ice. I think that was awesome. And I'm just going to keep talking here, but another really great moment that I'll never forget was when Corey Schneider got that first win.
Yeah.
That was so thrilling. We were, in our away studio, and it's always a small room or so, but we were jumping up and down. I was truly jumping up and down, screaming, and seeing the joy of the players' faces from my viewpoint of them coming down, heading into their locker room. That was just something really special to be a part of because we all know everything that Corey went through, and it was tough, and I know it meant so much to his teammates, but to see him get that win and just the joy everyone had for him, even in the midst of what was a really tough year, that moment just stands out to me because it just showed what a great character guy he is and how much his team really does enjoy each other's company. And I was so glad to be a part of it and have the interview with the helmet on after.
and I'm going to jump before you, but I really think that as fans, everyone wanted to see him get that win. It's just so hard when you're on that kind of a slide and just to break through that wall. I think it's fantastic. And I would agree with you. That was an awesome moment too. So Sam's been trying to ask a question. So we're going to get Sam in on this one. So Sammy, go ahead. I'm introing you. Let's go.
Hi, Erica. It's Sam. We met that one time. I think it was the New Year's Eve game. I don't know if you remember me, but I have a question. I have a question. As a broadcaster, we talk about rookies, how they can handle an 82 game schedule, but a lot of people don't realize a broadcaster that follows the team almost 82 games across North America. Did you find that difficult and strenuous going to the West Coast, back-to-back games and covering and keeping up with the energy and the intermission reports? Because I thought you did a very, very good job with Bryce doing that, especially with a particularly bad season. I mean, how do you do it? I mean, I just don't. Where do you get your energy from?
Oh, thank you. Everyone always asks me that. Was it like how did my expectations kind of meet what it actually was? Was it everything I thought? How tough was it? One, I can't complain about the way I get to travel and going on the plane with the team. So it could be a lot worse where we're having to fly to every city by ourselves and getting there just before a game. So that makes the part of the job a lot easier, even though we do arrive places late and you're trying to get rest. And for me, that's maybe the biggest challenge was just getting my sleep, but I like to sleep so I can sleep on the plane. I'll sleep as soon as I get to the hotel room, and I'll always make sure I have my sleep. So I felt energized and ready to go. And it was just so fun just getting to explore all these cities for the first time that I didn't ever feel, if you hit that exhaustion point, then you have the midway break of the season. So then you're kind of good, you reset, and you get going after the winter break. Yeah,
wow.
The energy aspect of it as well was just making sure that you're bringing the fans a reason to tune in. Because it really did get a point where you think, okay, how can I ask this question differently and go into the locker room after another road loss and try to make it exciting? Who can I talk to tonight? Because some days it really was tough to find someone to talk to and not many players would want to talk, which you could totally understand. So that was maybe just the biggest challenge of it, but I tried to find a way to make it interesting, and we would try to do some fun segments like the Valentine's Day segment with the best friends I thought was really fun. And of course, Dano and I going for the ride on the ATV. So little things like that has just kind of helped it go along and make it exciting, but just always being in a new place. That's just as exciting as it comes. And maybe just because it was my first time around the go through that I wasn't just jaded by any of the tough season that it was, if that makes sense.
And I also have to imagine that just at some point you just got to look at like where you are in your position and the job you have, and it's kind of like, wow, this is really awesome. I get to do this day in and day out, and it's almost got to be kind of like a dream job in a way.
Oh, 100%.
You get to hang around a hockey team all the time and talk to the guys and to just all this fun stuff. That just, from our standpoint, it looks like you're having a lot of fun when you're doing it too.
I really am, and I joked on stage tonight about I had so much fun. I always say fun, but I really did, and that's what stands out to me most about this season was just the amount of fun that I had. And it is a dream job just getting to be with this team. And even if it is a difficult season, I'm doing something that so many fans, so many people out there would like. And I never took that for granted, the position that I had. So I know how fortunate I was, and I know just how proud I was every game. And I just didn't ever want to take that for granted.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to.
Yeah.
it's just such a cool thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely a cool thing.
So yeah, it's been you and Bryce all season, and Bryce is, he's kind of a spring chicken too with this career. So like, what do you think is like one thing that you and Bryce get from each other? You're both learning. He's, like I said, he had the 1 year with Deb Placey, and Deb Placey's was a pro's pro, but you're both coming in here to do with this. What's one thing that you guys do together that helps you grow into, being one of the better teams in the NHL?
I think it's just our communication with one another. He is the guy that I, went in for my audition with. So we got the experience right away. We showed chemistry that we'd have right away to, those who made the hiring decision. So I think that was helpful, just meeting him before the season even started and then reuniting with him on that first preseason game. But it was just, the best part about Bryce is that he was the rookie a year before, and he was so amazing about basically answering questions before I even raised them, because he knew anything that I would be thinking, and he just addressed it right away and always offered some type of advice to just kind of ease my mind. And I think he's such a organized person, and he does so much homework. He's tremendous, but we'd always just kind of chat with each other first, making sure we're hitting the right topics and making sure he's getting the proper lead into different segments as well, so he can feel that he can best deliver his point. But we always talked about and had our meetings about what we'd be covering that game. And I think that really helped, was just the friendship that we had. And of course I missed him on the road a lot. And so I was always glad when he got to travel with us, but he's such a great guy that he just made working with him so enjoyable. And I think it just came across on camera.
A great mentor is worth his weight in gold. And that's what it seemed like he was a great mentor for you.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Erica, thank you so much for your time. We'd love to have you back on the podcast soon, okay? Have a great time.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. That is Erica Wachter,
Wow.
and short
Awesome.
guy at the Prudential Center. Wow, she gave us a lot of time. The interview just flew by. You can sense the excitement and everything.
Sammy, I hate to jump in, but I've been waiting to kind of, before we started talking to everybody, I've been keeping an eye on where everybody's been falling. And I kind of want to ask Nick this question because early in the year, there was a lot of predictions of who's going to be 1-2, 1-2-3, all these other kind of things. And Pot Colson, who was supposed to be a top 3 pick, fell to number 10 to Vancouver. So Nick, what are your thoughts about that one? Because I know earlier we're talking about any kind of surprises that might happen in the draft, and another one is that Spencer Knight went number 13 to the Panthers, but there's a kind of a rumbling that might happen.
Yeah, I'll talk about the Pod Colson first, just because it's who you brought up first. But the big worry is he going to come here? You could play that game with a Igor Rykov. You could play the game with a couple of these other guys that you take third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh round. You can play those games with that. You can't play that game with a top 10 pick. This guy he's dedicated to the KHL for 2 years at least. When you're getting a guy in the top 10, you want him on your team next year, and you're guaranteed not to get this guy the next year. And then the year after is a question mark. He never said anything when he was projected to go third. And then when his name started to fall, he out of nowhere said, hey, after my KHL contract is over, I'll come over to the NHL. And I don't think that was good enough. I think that these GMs are smart. And most of these GMs are very intelligent to get to where they need to get to. And, I don't think that taking a chance on a guy like that when you have some, and I've been questioning some of these picks. Cole Caulfield, I believe, is still on the board, which is kind of unfortunate because the Flyers are picking right now. So I don't understand. I'm sorry. I do understand why it took that long for Pod Colson to be that pick. Now, as far as Spencer Knight goes, Spencer Knight, I was looking at the graphic, in the corner of my eye, and they compared him to Martin Brodeur, and I always kind of cringe.
I wonder if they did that because Marty was there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
is that one of
maybe.
those things because he was there and he made that first pick? You know what I mean? So it could have been one of those like, all right, well, might as well do that here. He's here.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I always get worried when you compare somebody to the best of all time. You don't compare anybody to Gretzky. You don't compare. You don't even compare Connor McDavid to Gretzky. To let them get there. And they're doing these comparisons and all these players, and they're all like these crazy good players. So I get it, but Spencer Knight, he's gonna be good. But goalies are just such a question mark. And to go 13, and Florida, I guess Florida's got a plan. They got Joel Quenneville. They have to think that
Panarin's
Panarin's coming. They have to think that. But is that no longer a package deal with Bobrovsky? If they got Spencer Knight might be ready next year. Why are you going to give Bobrovsky $10 million for 7 years or whatever he's going to cost? Even if he's $7 million for 7 years, I think he's going to be more than that. But if he gets, because you see Montreal's already regretting the Carey Price contract, Carey Price is still a really good goalie. And how much longer can Bob really be a really good goalie? He's getting, I think he's on the wrong side of 30. So you give him a 7-year deal, you're paying him to 37, these big bucks. And then it's that Spencer Knight pick. Just it changes a lot. It moves a lot of things around in my head because, I kind of thought, I don't know who's going to take Bob. I don't know who's going to give Bobrovsky that big contract if it's not the Florida Panthers. And if they just took Spencer Knight with the 13th overall pick with these really good players, and the Flyers just went with Cam York, which is a player I really like. So that's unfortunate. I really need the metropolitan teams to stop taking players I really like. Cole Caulfield, he's getting the Aaron Rodgers treatment right now. They just keep showing his face when somebody gets taken ahead of you.
Okay, all right. So that was my next question: is Caulfield, and he keeps sliding down the draft board. You can't imagine that he's going to slide past the Avalanche at 16. You know what? He's one of those kids that I feel like he put up huge numbers, but everybody's scared because he's 5'6" or something like that.
I think he's
one
5'9".
of those really.
He's not exactly Gianta, but
yeah, but he's a small dude, small stature, but I mean, he's got some pretty good hands. He's got some pretty good hockey sense. I really think that a lot of teams are going to regret passing on him. Now, I'm gonna interject this. I don't think if he makes it into the 20s, all right. So let's say that we've gotten into the 20s and there's still no movement. Do you see a team trying to trade up to try to get him? Do you see the Devils trying to?
The Devils should trade all 3 of their second-round picks to get Cole Caulfield if he falls to 20. Trade all 3.
That's what I'm saying.
Trade all 3.
Okay.
Trade.
All right. So we have Winnipeg is at number 20. All right. So let's say he's the 19th pick goes up and goes down, and Winnipeg's up on the 20th pick. Is that enough for them to take the 20th pick? If 3 second-round picks, is that enough for Winnipeg to be like, all right, you can take the 20? And is it worth it? Is the other question.
I mean, it's hard to say that because they literally just gave up Jacob Trouba for that 20 pick. So would 3 second-rounders have gotten Trouba? I don't think so. So I think he'd have to fall to 25, and I don't know. These teams see. Here's kind of like how the sauce is made of why these guys fall, is because a team right now like Montreal is at 15 right now. Anybody beyond Montreal, including Montreal, probably didn't do a ton of research on Caulfield because they didn't think he was going to be there. So now they have their mind set on like, oh, I had this other guy though, and I know this other guy, and a lot of these teams go with the devil they know rather than the devil they don't, and that's why. And you got 3 minutes. You got 3 minutes to make this pick. Yeah. So you don't have a lot of time to process the fact that Cole Caulfield, who's by the way is 5'7", you were closer than I was, but you don't have a lot of time to process like, hey, and then that's where those doubts come in because you got 3 minutes to be like, oh, should I change my entire draft strategy because this number 8 prospect is here, but he's 5'7", but maybe he's ready to go this year, but maybe, so you got those kind of doubts. But I had people, we wrote an article about Cole Caulfield and what it would take to trade up into the top 10 to get him. And we were talking, Will Butcher, Bob Ozaka, all 3 seconds and a third. So if you can do it for significantly less than that, and then there was other trades where it was like you'd have to give up Ty Smith or Jesper Boquist to get up that high. Now you're talking about just a package of picks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is where it starts to get interesting, like you said, because when things start to unfold, like the draft, I'm surprised there hasn't been any kind of major trades or any kind of major movement. But I always feel like it's right in that middle section, right in that mid, like maybe in the late teens, 20s is when you start to see those major trades start to happen. Sometimes earlier, like we saw with Corey Schneider, but sometimes you get the real action of the draft is going to start to culminate right now. Okay, let's fast forward, right? End of the first round, all the picks are in, everything's done, and not a single trade is made. Would you be shocked?
You mean like picks trade or like players trade?
Players trade. Yeah,
I'd be shocked. Even if they just consist of those second round picks. I mean, we're at 15 already. And what I was explaining to you before, these teams are just sitting there talking. And from what we heard, at least 5 teams, including the Devils, had conversations about roster players. So I have to imagine something's going to get done. You got nothing but time now. You might as well use that time to, and I've seen Trade Alert go across the screen about 10 times, and it's always this Arizona Philly trade where they both made the picks. And I really need them to stop telling me Trade Alert because I've been alerted. Thank you, NBC. But I would be shocked if no players are traded. I'd be shocked if PK Subban is a Predator when we go to bed tonight.
You really think so? You really think he's going to – see, I don't know, because it feels like something would have already happened by now. Do you know what I mean? Like, it feels like – I don't know. It's a little too quiet. Maybe, obviously, we don't have inside information, or we don't have that kind of, we're not walking across the floor and hearing all the different conversations that are going on right now. But it feels like something would have already happened. Something would have already moved, or a hell of a lot more chatter would have been picked up, because right now I'm like scouring through the internet trying to find something, and I'm like, there is not a lot going on.
Yeah, no, there's. I mean, I don't even see the rumors. I saw all of the rumors, and there's just no rumors right now.
All right, guys, I got to cut in. We got on the Bobby's Auto Care hotline, we got Mike Lucci from Pucks and Pitchforks. Mike, what is your reaction to Jack Hughes being picked first overall and going to the New Jersey Devils?
Well, to start off, thanks for having me on, guys. Obviously, for the Devils, it's a tremendous night for the organization. They're definitely getting a franchise. They're definitely getting a franchise player in Jack Hughes. I think, despite Capo Caco's performance at the Worlds this spring, it's kind of a given that this is the guy the players are going to get from the get-go. So, from all the weeks of speculation and articles and whatnot from the time the Devils won the draft lottery to tonight, it's just good to see that everything's official and the New Jersey finally got their guy.
Hey, Mike, Nick Villano, Pucks and Pitchforks. I don't know if you know me or not, but I gotta ask. What does this do? I want you to tell me what you think that this does for the Devils in 2019, 2020. How specifically does this affect this team next season?
Well, more likely than not, unless he absolutely bombs at training camp, which is, in my opinion, highly unlikely. This is definitely someone that New Jersey got who will definitely be on the team next year. Being a center in general is definitely an important position to have on principle, but one of the biggest impacts he's going to have for that 1920 New Jersey Devils team is he's a player that fits one of the organization's most pressing needs right now in their roster. He definitely he's another another center they could have, another center, top six forward. They kind of killed two birds with one stone right there. They definitely needed another number two center to complement and go each year. So definitely helps the team round out their top six forward depth, which is definitely something that they lacked sorely last year. So definitely something that is probably their most probably the most significant thing that it's going to do for that 1920 team next year.
So I'm sorry if anybody's just about to jump in. I'm like bouncing around trying to multitask right now. But one of the things, Mike, that I wanted to ask you in regards to something that Nick and I were just kind of throwing around, there doesn't seem to be a lot of chatter about any kind of trades or anything that's going to be happening or anything that's imminent. Caulfield just went number 15. There goes our answer for that. He went number 15 to the Habs. So, but anyways, do you feel like anything significant is going to happen tonight?
I'd like to say if anything significant happened, it probably would have happened by now. Having said that, trades are just one of those things that could pop up at they could happen any moment. Like you guys have kind of just been on a refreshathon on Twitter all night, kind of looking for any traces of something to go on. Definitely just as a hockey fan in general, it is kind of annoying to see just the overall lack of trade activity. I kind of feel like that's a bit of a trend for the past for the past couple of drafts in recent years. There's just been a lot of hype about huge trades, player movement going into the draft, and what winds up happening doesn't even come remotely near to overall expectations. I think this year, though, in my opinion, I think that one of the biggest, if not the biggest factor that's causing the kind of slow trade market, slow trade movement we're seeing right now, is how the salary cap hasn't been officially declared. I believe they're doing that tomorrow. And granted, even though I think the projections were anywhere from like 81 to 82 or 83 million. I still think that $1-2 million difference, most people will say, oh, well, it's only $1-2 million. Well, what's the big deal? To a lot of cap-strapped teams, like the Golden Knights, for example, I really do think knowing whether or not you have that extra $1 or $2 million in cap space really makes a difference for these teams that need to get rid of players to clear salary and whatnot. So in my opinion, that's definitely the biggest factor that could be holding things up. Having said that, depending on when they make the official announcement, I think in response to that, we could hopefully wind up seeing a lot of that trade activity we're hoping today spill over into tomorrow's draft. So that's what I think the situation is with that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that as far as the Devils go, obviously that they can't really do anything for the rest of the night unless it's a trade. And any trade they make tonight, they can make tomorrow morning. So if they really do want to sleep on it or something like that, Ray doesn't seem like the kind of guy that needs to sleep on these deals. He's the kind of guy that things happen. So, as far as the deal goes, who do you think would be an ideal team for the Devils to target for a deal tonight? A lot of these teams are still focusing on their top picks, especially these teams in salary cap heck. But who's a guy who you think is the team that the Devils should target?
It's actually but that question is a lot more difficult to answer than it might seem at first. It's always fun to speculate online in the group chats or on Twitter. It just really depends on what I think the biggest way to determine that is just to look at what the team needs right now. They need quality defensemen. They need to round out their third through 10th forward depth. Ideally, since despite the recent contract signings we've seen, the UFA market's going to be pretty saturated with quality forwards. I like to see the Devils, if they were to make a trade tonight or this weekend, grab a defenseman. So someone like a PK Subban, Colin Miller, even someone like Tyson Barrie or Justin Falk. Granted, their contracts are up in 2020, 1 year from now. I would still be 100% comfortable if Ray Shero made a play for those guys, even though they have 1 year left on their deals. And just mainly because Shero has, even dating back to his years in Pittsburgh, he has such a tremendous track record of locking up his sport players and preventing them from going to free agency, that if you were to get one of those guys, I really wouldn't be remotely concerned about Shero's ability to sign someone like a Falk or a Barrie to a long-term extension before 2020 next year. So definitely a top four defenseman for sure. They definitely have especially for a team like the Carolina Hurricanes or Nashville Predators, who really need to shore up on their scoring. Quality tradable forwards is definitely something the Devils have a surplus of that those teams need. So it definitely seems like a perfect match in that regard.
Now, with all that said, I know there's some big names that could possibly be out there, like a Panarin. There's been a lot of links to the Florida Panthers, and it seems like that's probably where he's going to end up going anyways. But do you see the Devils landing somebody like Panarin or somebody like a big fish like that?
No. And
well, thank you for the very short answer.
Good try.
Yeah, exactly.
Just for a couple of reasons. Number one, even dating back to his years in Pittsburgh, historically, Ray Shero has never been a big spender in free agency. I think his most high-profile free agent signings are probably like Sergei Gonchar, Paul Martin, back when he was with Pittsburgh. To my mind, those are the most notable free agents he signed. And I got to be frank. The other reason too, I just don't think New Jersey is a desirable destination for top-end free agents, especially someone like Panarin, who's reportedly wants to play in the big market. Even
so why the hell is he going to go to the Florida Panthers?
Well, that's it. Well, it's Florida. It's Florida,
No, I know. I'm just kidding. And no taxes.
Yeah, no, yes. There's no income tax down there. That's one thing I showed up on one of my recent articles. New Jersey's top income tax bracket for earners is 10% for people who make over $5 million. Outside of California, that's the second highest. That's the second highest state income tax bracket in the country. Granted, there are states and provinces out there that have super high income tax brackets like New York, Toronto, California, Chicago, but they make up for it because they're in big markets, and that's just that's just a situation that the Devils aren't in. So, as happy and excited as I would be if they brought in someone like a Panarin or a Duchesne or someone like that, realistically, let's just put it this way: if this were a betting gambling situation, I wouldn't put my money on that.
All right, Mike. Well, we have a lot of guests still in the K, so we gotta say goodnight to you and let you go on and just kind of drink to Jack Hughes a little bit more. So I really appreciate you coming on tonight, Mike.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on. I'm definitely looking forward to talking to you guys in the future.
So that was Mike Lucci with the Pucks and Pitchfork podcast, Pucks and Pitchfork blog. This is the Let's Go Devils podcast. Beer Barrett, it's there's been a lot of talking by all of us tonight. So, but we still got a lot to go. We had to push a couple things back because we got Erica. So, whenever you get Erica on the podcast, you got to push everything back.
100%, man. You got to make room. And honestly, it's one of those nights where everything is hopefully the party's still going on down in Newark right now. We're going to try to keep it going as long as we can over here. The truth be told, it's I talked to Sam earlier in the day, and I was like, you know what? We had our podcast during the day at 11 o'clock, and we had Ken Gelosi on. It was fantastic, and he's like, hey, you're going to be – he asked me live. He goes, are you going to be able to make it tonight? And I said, all depends on a few different things, but it's just I'm so excited to be on here, a chance to talk with you, a chance to talk with Mike, all these things. I can't get over like what a crazy night it's been, because all this lead up, all this like build up for the last, month and a half, where we found out that we're going to have the number 1 overall pick, where you find out we're going to be drafting, a possible Jack Hughes, and then finally getting to the point where we draft him. It's almost surreal. Do you know what I mean? Like it feels kind of like this past year, which was an absolute joke, to sit down and watch every single Devils game or to listen to every single Devils game. It's all worth it. It's all worth it. All that suffering, all those like terrible losses, all those times where you go on Twitter and you see people just completely bashing your own team, and you're like, I thought you were fans of the Devils, and people, oh, this team sucks, get rid of Corey Schneider and blah 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 blah. It's all worth it. The light at the tunnel. You know what I mean? It's all happy and smiles and unicorns and all that kind of stuff you said before.
Oh yeah, it's definitely unicorns right now. It's big
Peyton
time right now. I mean,
to the King or to the Knights.
Oh yeah, that's a huge pick for them. It took him about 25 minutes to get to the stage though, because he's dealing with that Achilles injury. So that made me a little bit worrisome watching him do that. But he's a really good player.
You know what? I was kind of hoping that he would slip down because of that injury and slip into the second round. But I don't think anybody's going to be, that stupid to do that.
Yeah, he's too good of a player. He's definitely, and he's one of those guys that might have been a top 4 pick if he was on a better team. Like if he was on maybe, a golf or one of those other juniors teams that the Hamilton Bulldogs. But he played for a mediocre juniors team, and he had to try to carry the load. So between that and between the Achilles injury, he falls to 17, and the Knights get a real good player that they're probably going to trade for a superstar next year.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, on the Bobby's Auto Care hotline, we have Vinny Parisi from Pucks and Pitchforks. Vinny, how you doing, man?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Hey, we're doing great. We got Jack freaking Hughes.
Oh, I know. How exciting. I can't even put into words how excited I am right now.
Well, I'm going to need you to put it into words, Vinny, because you're on a podcast.
Yeah. Well, it's just the best day that this team has had in a really long time. I mean, last season was awful, and we sat through it, the diehard fans that we are, and now we're reaping the reward of it.
For real. So the first question I want to ask, and I'm kind of going to jump ahead because we've been talking about Hughes and kind of the effect all night. But one thing we were talking about, and Kevin Whalen, one of our new writers at Pucks and Pitchforks, already wrote about this. Tell me what this does as far as the impact on the marketing level for the Devils. Like, how does this help them get their name out there? Just this one player.
I mean, they have the Triple H's now: Hall, Heishier, and Hughes. He's American. He's the first 8th American ever to be taken. He's just a guy who, with Taylor Hall and Nico Heishier, these guys could be the face of the franchise. They can market him in everything. People love this guy. Anything Jack Hughes that has gone on for the last 2 months since they won the lottery has just been eaten up by Devils Twitter and, all the social media. Everybody loves Hughes. So they could market him to no end. Look at the way Edmonton markets Connor McDavid. That's what the Devils can do with Hughes.
Yeah, no, I agree, Vinny. I think that this is probably the most marketable star the Devils have ever had because, Brodeur was obviously one of the greatest of all time, but, he wore a goalie mask, and that does impact a lot of how people knew him. And,
Sure,
Scott Stevens was kind of, he was a different guy. We didn't see his personality that much, except for when he knocked somebody's head off and then winked at them. So and it was a different time then. It wasn't about the flashy star, and this is the time where the stars run the hockey world. So I do agree. I think that Jack Hughes is going to have a big impact as far as that's concerned. I do want to ask you though, how does this change the trajectory of the Devils? Maybe like the 5-year plan. How is the 5-year plan different now that Jack Hughes is a Devil?
Okay, well, Nico's going into his 3rd season, and he still has a long way to go before. So I think over the span of 5 years, you could see this 1-2 punch develop into what you build a championship franchise out of. If you look in Washington with Kuznetsov and Backstrom, or in Los Angeles with Kopitar and Carter when they were in their prime, Crosby and Malkin in Pittsburgh, these are championship squads that are built through the center of the ice, and the Devils have that. And two guys who are so different from each other that can be used in different situations. It's how you build a franchise that wants to win the Stanley Cup. I mean, that's the expectation at this point.
So, Vinny, with Hughes in tow, he's probably going to slide right into that second line forward. And then this is a question that I asked Erica when she was on just a couple minutes ago. But who do you think is going to feel the biggest impact from Hughes being on the team next year?
I would guess one of Kyle Palmieri or Jesper Bratt. I think Kyle Palmieri has the potential to score 35 to 40 goals if Hughes is the playmaker that we think he is. I like Bratt on the top line. I would put Palmieri on the second line, and I love the idea of him playing with Jack Hughes.
Yeah, I mean, that's something. I mean, Sam, what do you think about that? How do you feel about a Jesper Bratt, Jack Hughes, Kyle Palmieri line?
Well, it's going to have a lot of speed. I can tell you that. You're going to have a lot of speed and some power. And look, you could put Jack Hughes anywhere. I think that's where the versatility and why he's a first overall pick versus picking Kako, being a winger. And, that was that thing said, I think it was in the Wyshynski interview that, Kako has played center, but, Ray didn't, he's heard it, but Jack Hughes can play wing. So who cares? And to have a centerman and the ability to have a 1-2 punch down the middle with Hischier and Hughes for the next decade, you don't have to worry about that position, barring injuries, right? So 2 first overall picks, plus you have Taylor Hall, who could potentially sign long-term, another first overall pick. The first 2 lines are set. 3 and 4, you're talking about Mikey McLeod and Zaka on the 4th line. Hey, I take that. I take that potential for going 4 deep.
Hey, what do you think, Vinny?
If Taylor Hall signs long-term, this team is set offensively, you would hope, for the next half decade to a decade. Because if you put one of Bratt or Palmieri with Hall and Hischier, and then the other with Jack Hughes, and you figure out a second line left wing situation, whether it be somebody in the system, a free agent, hopefully don't overpay for a free agent, but a guy you can add, if they get somebody later in this draft who turns out to be a stud, like a Jesper Bratt-ish type player who comes out of nowhere, figuring out the second line left wing. But if Taylor Hall stays, this offense is set for a while, you would think.
All right, Vinny, well, I appreciate you coming on. It's big night for us, huge night. You had the Jack Hughes piece that came out, and I want to appreciate, you putting that out there. We had it up the second we made the pick. And, Vinny Parisi, Pucks and Pitchforks, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me. It's a great time to be a Devils fan.
Ain't that the truth? Sam, that's definitely the truth here. But, we have still a big night coming up. We're still only, I think we're at pick 18, so we have another 12 picks to go. So there's a lot that could happen in this draft. But, I just want to ask you one question. We're about 2 hours removed from taking Jack Hughes. Do you still feel that excitement?
Oh yeah, I haven't even got started yet. I haven't had time to think, but I do have one question. Beer Baron's back. Is he back for good? Your mic's not on,
not
Beer
back.
Baron.
Oh yeah, now I'm back. The excitement overwhelmed me. I'm overwhelmed.
I'm just so excited that we had Erica Wachter on before for about 10, 15 minutes as we're monopolizing our time by accident. But hey, I'm going to get our next guest on, so I'll let you two talk.
Yeah, no, that was big moves here for the Let's Go Devils podcast. I got to say, it's a big night. It's a big night all around. Everything Devils related is just hitting a home run.
Yeah, dude, seriously, a huge shout out goes to Shorts Guy and to Kelly out there in the field for making all that happen and for getting talk about like just a guerrilla style warfare, podcast going out in the middle of the crowd and being able to pull in Erica Wachter and Kevin and everybody, Arlette, Pete, like getting everybody to like come on to the podcast, like. It's been a crazy night. It's just exciting all the way around.
Yeah, I mean it's been a crazy night in hockey, and we were talking about like the lack of trades that have happened so far, and that's kind of been the theme of the night so far is that we just haven't seen even the picks trades. We haven't seen anything like that. But it's still been a very exciting night just because, we saw a lot of interesting players fall. We were just talking about Krebs. He fell to 17. He went to the Golden Knights of all places. Like, they need more talent. And then Cole Caulfield went to Montreal. And Caulfield might play next year on that Montreal Canadiens team. I could slot him 100%. In that lineup tomorrow.
100%. And I totally agree with you. And that was, it's funny because between Krebs and Caulfield, like Caulfield was one of those kids that I was like, you know what? I knew we were going to get Jack Hughes. Like you just had that feeling as soon as we, won the draft lottery, you knew that there was no other way. I mean, Kakko had that amazing tournament in the world championship, but even that was, a couple of games and it wasn't like he lit the world on fire. It was just like he had a couple of really dazzling moments and you're like, man, this guy could play. And I'm not taking anything away from him. He's good. Don't get me wrong. But, Jack Hughes it was just a foregone conclusion. So then it becomes like, what's next? What's the 34th pick going to be? Do they trade back into the first round? What are they going to do to bolster the defense? Like, there's all these answers that haven't been, or all these questions that haven't been answered. And we're now going into the 20th pick. And we're still waiting to see any kind of major movement. There's been no major trades. There's been no, like you said, nobody's even traded a pick yet.
Yeah, I mean, we only had that one Flyers trade so far, the Flyers and Coyotes, and besides that, I'm very sketched out that nothing else has happened.
Yeah, it's kind of strange.
So it's weird.
I know somebody that may know something that's going on. Jersey Joe Stanslow,
our boy. That's our boy.
Yeah, he sends me a lot of stuff, and I read through it. Hey, Joe, you're on the State of the Fan address with Nick, myself, Sam, and Beer Baron.
Well, it is about time I get on here. Baby.
Yeah, seriously.
It feels like Christmas in the summertime.
Oh yeah, today is the summer solstice. This is a heck of a day to be it felt like the longest day of the year. Waiting all day to get Jack Hughes. I felt like it was the longest day ever.
Yeah, indeed.
Very eventful day.
So Joe, the reason we have you on in this spot is because we think we know that you do a lot of digging. You do a lot of you go underneath the counting stats. You know more than goals and assists. So real quick, can you tell me what's something about Jack Hughes that the normal fan doesn't know already that makes him a great hockey player?
Okay, so first off,
Jack Hughes has over 30-plus goals recently this past campaign for the USA National Development Team, and he has about over 100-plus assists. So he is not afraid to pass the puck around in the right spots, or when he feels a little bit cornered, he at least finds that open man. So he's a very supportive guy, not just offensively, but he's learning to play his man more now that he's growing into his 18-year-old self. So he's someone outside of the scoring part, it's the entry zone entries that he does even better. So these are things that are going to equate even more at the NHL level.
So, Joe, one of the things that we asked earlier in the podcast, we actually asked Erica Wachter, who do you think, Nick, I think this is your question. Who do you think this helps out the most on the Devils roster, having Jack Hughes on the roster now? Who do you think is going to be benefit the most from this?
Oh, I'm definitely bringing in a new guy on this one, and he just signed a contract in Jesper Blomqvist. This kid can play wing, he can play center. You have Hughes, who thinks a lot like him, and I think they can feed off each other, and it's going to be excellent, especially when you pair them with Jesper Bratt. Bratt being a fast, speedy guy. Also, when you give him the puck and along the boards, he can snake around, and Jack Hughes can get open, and he can snake around and evade the net, and also get those important goals at the right time. And it's not just the flashy high danger zone scoring, but it's also the ones a little further out as well that count as well.
So, Joe, the Devils don't have any more picks in this round. We took Jack Hughes. It's a big night for us, but we might arguably, have a bigger day tomorrow, especially with those 3 second-round picks. Who are some of the guys you like in that second round who, maybe can do some great things for the Devils?
All right, so I mentioned recently in the last couple articles was Igor Afanasayev, who is from the Lumberjacks of the USHL, and I also have Connor McMichael from the London Knights, who's like a Zach Parise 2.0, but with a lot more energy. And then I have a goaltender I am absolutely taking a flyer on in the name of Mads Sugard. He's a Danish goaltender. He's like Ben Bishop height, and he's pretty strong and sturdy laterally. And he's not afraid to poke check or dive out of his end and make people look pathetic. I mean, I am absolutely for all these 3 players if we can get them. It's just a matter of the odds.
Yeah, no, I mean, the goalie is an interesting pick just because, last time we took a goalie in the second round, it was Mackenzie Blackwood, and that took a couple years to work out. But now you got Schneider, who's signed for, I think, another 4 years off the top of my head, and then you got Blackwood, who's, on his entry-level deal, which ends this next upcoming season. So, it's an interesting choice. I think the only thing that would worry some fans is waiting. You probably have to wait 3 or 4 years to get that goalie in.
Well, I could tell you this on the contrary. So we already have Gilsen in from Switzerland, and he's going to be with Binghamton very soon. And then you have Akira Schmid, who's going to take maybe a little bit longer. But I do like the way the trajectory of Mads Sugard is. He's very calm, cool, collected as a goaltender. He's the second best goaltender available after Spencer Knight, according to EliteProspects.com. So I watched him during the Cherry Ore tournament, and he looks like he just has ice in his veins. And that's something that Martin Brodeur had in New Jersey. Not saying he is going to be Brodeur, but the way he handles himself, the way he has the stick and the glove handling, I mean, he's a special type of goaltender I would take a risk on.
So, Joe, I'm going to totally un-hockey related. I see you're in Ocean Grove. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Dude, my sister-in-law has a house down there, so next time we're down there during the summer, I'm gonna have to hit you up, and we'll have to take a hit over to Asbury and grab a beer or something.
You know what? I am absolutely going to say this. We're going to have to go to the beer garden together and have a cheer and a
there
beer.
You go. There you go. And I saw you post that earlier when the Devils were asking where everybody was watching the draft party. I was like, hey, man, all right, Ocean Grove.
You know, there's a lot of interesting youth hockey players in this region, and I just happen to know someone who recently was drafted in the USHL draft, but Muskegon didn't take this kid named Jake LaRusso because they had too many local kids and they had to cut some players, and he's returning to the Titans of New Jersey junior team, so he's going to get that important year in before he is due for next year's NHL draft for 2020. But he's already committed to Colorado College, which is Jaden Schwartz's almost. So I happened to meet him and his father last year in September at my friend's cafe at High Voltage.
Very cool.
See, again, I'm the hockey guy, so I moved back to hockey.
Yeah, I bounce back and forth, man. You get.
I'm the worst. I'm the worst with the personal relationships. I know hockey. I'm the hockey guy. I know how to talk about hockey, and I'm funny when I talk about hockey, but I'm not funny when I talk about anything else. So I'm gonna move it back to hockey because that's me. So Joe, you've mentioned in about 3 articles now that you think the Devils should trade for Timo Meier and the San Jose Sharks, and they did put themselves in a little bit of a cap crunch, and he's going to cost a lot of money. What do you think it's going to cost the Devils in a trade? What do you think they're going to have to give the Sharks to get the rights to Timo Meier?
You know what? You can give them maybe a couple seconds, maybe a defenseman. I mean, if it's Damon Severson, go ahead. But you got Ty Smith coming in. You can also take a whack at Tyler Myers as a free agent. But I really do think maybe if you're going to trade for a defenseman first, you got to get Colin Miller from the Vegas Golden Knights, who I think you should invest in first before you make a move for a winger like Timo Meier just yet. So I would rather ensure the defense first.
So what are your thoughts about PK?
I like PK. I think the cost basis for him is going to be like a second and a first and maybe a Sammy Vatanen on top of it. But in order to do the trade, I think you would have to give Sammy Vatanen around $6 million for maybe 3 years to kind of like sweeten the pot for the Nashville Predators, but I do think it's doable with the Predators. I mean, I wouldn't call it buddy bud the way Ray Shero likes to think of it, but I think it's similar to a gentleman's respect, like the way they have a good business work relationship that they can wheel and deal on. So it kind of be like give them a discount for David Poile.
So you just mentioned it, and then before we let you go, because we're getting tired here, and I think we all need to refresh our beverages. But so you just mentioned a first round pick. Would you give up the 2020 first rounder in a trade for a big time defenseman this year, knowing how deep and how great the top of the 2020 draft is?
Learning from what Ottawa did, I'm not going to risk that one. Maybe 2021 or 2022 because that's a little further down the road. But if it has to be with a player who's an RFA, doing it on the cheaper side, I would do it. But I don't want us to get to surrender something that could be lottery protected. So if we can do it that it's lottery protected, we can do it. But I think Shearo's a lot smarter than Pierre Dorian at this point in the game to not do what Dorian did in the Duchesne trade.
Well, Jersey Joe, we loved having you on. It was a great night. We had a lot of fun. Do you have one last message for Devils fans out there now that we got Jack Hughes?
All right, people, just listen up. The game is getting a lot faster, maybe a little bit smaller in height, but it's all about the skill. It's all about the intensity and the passion of the player. You got to think about as if you were the player yourself. Do you think everyone's going to be 6'2", 6'4", and play like Jaromir Jagr all the time? No. This is the Jack Hughes, Patrick Kane. This is the Clayton Keller era. So this is the fast attacking supportive era. This is not the big fisticuff or Jagr, Superman type league anymore. This is going to be a league where we might not even have offsides anymore for Gary Bettman.
Yeah, you all.
So people be patient. Oh, that's not the case here.
Well, thank you, Jersey Joe. Thank you, Jersey Joe. Well, great having you on the podcast. So we'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Thank you.
That is Jersey Joe Stanlow with Pucks and Pitchforks. Wow, this has been a marathon. But I would have never imagined
I'm exhausted.
How many guests did we have on today? Like almost like
a lot.
10?
I think 7. Well, not 7 on just on this one.
Oh yeah, we're breaking records. We're gonna have to go back to the recordings and cut up some of these segments because I think we did like literally about 10 podcasts into one on the state of the fan address. But I mean, look at the title for episode 8, 2019 Eggshell Post Draft Reaction. Remember, the Let's Go Devils podcast platform is the most commented Devils-centric podcast in the history of Devils podcasts. We're also the most viewed podcast in the history of New Jersey Devils hockey. I think we're going to win an Emmy Award. They give Emmy Awards for everything, don't they, Nick?
I have an Emmy Award, so probably, yeah.
Do you really? How do you get an Emmy Award? This podcast needs to win an Emmy.
I'm working on it. We could. There's podcast awards. How are we getting those?
I don't know. I know when I get up there and we make our speech, I'm going to be like, first and foremost, I'd like to thank all the Devils fans. And
Ray did that tonight. He did not only I got it because Sam, I was thinking about you when I was watching this, and Ray gets up there and he vamps, and then he vamps a little more, and then he vamps a little more, just to introduce Martin Brodeur, who comes up and says it's Jack Hughes and then leaves. It was amazing. I was Sam hit on the nose.
Did he say? I'd like to thank the city of Vancouver and the Vancouver Canuck fans for their hospitality. Did he even say that?
Everybody does. Everybody does. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but he thanks Vancouver for hosting the World Juniors.
Yeah, for and hosting like 10 different events, right? And thank you for the Olympics a couple of years ago, and then I think you guys had the Stanley Cup here. That was, I don't know, in the thousands, who knows? But
yeah, thank you
for the riots after you lost. It really made us all look a lot better.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, thank you for not turning over my rental car. I didn't have the extra insurance on it while I was there.
No, it was probably I was laughing. I was like, I gotta zone back in. We got a podcast in a couple minutes, but I was dying.
Well, to tell you the truth, what really got me was I told you prior to the podcast because I was setting everything up. I didn't have time to concentrate and find out who the Devils picked. I said, text me. What does Shorts guy do? He says Kako. So I had no idea. And I said, are you kidding?
What a dick move.
Yeah. And then like, luckily you started off the podcast, Nick, because it is the State of the Fan Address. And you said Jack Hughes. And I'm like, what? What?
You got lying friends. Why are you always lying?
Well, that's what we do here at the Let's Go Devils podcast. I'm just kidding. Just jokes.
Brought to you by the Onion.
Yeah. So, wow. Well,
I will say one thing. I will say one thing before we go. I'm a little upset because I was really looking forward to the live reacting to a trade. I really wanted to,
you know what? The whole time I keep refreshing and I keep looking and I'm like scouring, and I feel bad because there's a couple times where I zoned out, and the only reason why is because I'm like, something's gonna happen, and not a thing, not a single thing.
Like, you wouldn't think that you'd watch a draft just to have them make picks. Like, do something, poke it with a stick.
Yeah. And there was so much chatter right before, especially today during the afternoon. And it wasn't like chatter between like the unreliable, unblue checked, marked places. There was like big names. LeBron was going out there saying, "Oh, there's going to be movement," and people from TSN were saying, "Oh, there's going to be movement." Mackenzie, "Oh, there's going to be movement." There's this guy, and it's like, all these people are starting to say something, and all these big names are starting to say something. Usually something happens, but maybe tomorrow.
Now, real quick, one of the guys that I thought was going to be there at 34 for the Devils, and is just about everybody I've seen's mock draft at 34, Tobias Bjornfort, just went to who did he go to? The Kings. He just went to the Kings. So he's off the board. The guy that a lot of people thought was going to go to the Devils at 34, the big defenseman from Sweden, Tobias Bjornfot, is now off the board. So I think that's a pretty interesting situation. He went to 22. We thought he was going to be there at 34. He's off the board at 22.
I'll tell you.
Hey, guys. Great podcast. We're going to end it. We're going to end the podcast with pictures from the draft festivities down at Prudential Center. People that met up with Short Sky. But before we go, I'd like to thank the listeners and viewers and all of our good friends on the podcast. Arlette, Steve Cangelosi, he met up with Short Sky, Trudy, Kevin Clark, Jerry, big fan, Bobby Manella, Andy Green, everybody that
he met up with Andy Green.
Yeah, I think he met up with Andy Green too, right? Blackwood was there.
Yeah, Blackwood. Yeah.
So did he ask Andy Green if he's going to give up number 6?
Oh, we didn't even talk about that.
For Jack Hughes?
Well, we're going to have to do a redo.
Probably
with Andy Green. So, but anyway, that's the music. So we're going to leave the State of the Fan address on Let's Go Devils Podcast Network. Pictures of tonight.
English is
so
hard
long,
for
folks.
It's a late night.
Yeah. But guess what? We got Jack Hughes.
Yeah!